James's boots crunched over the broken stones as he stepped off the shuttle. The air was dry and heavy with dust, carrying the faint smell of metal and something older, something forgotten. Around him stretched the ruins, tall, jagged structures that had once been part of a great city. Now they were silent, half buried in sand and wind. No human had walked here for decades, and yet, as he looked around, James felt the unmistakable weight of being watched. Captain Lyra, a veteran of countless exploration missions, stepped beside him, her eyes scanning every shadow. "Remember?" she said in a low voice. "We don't know what's here. Keep your distance and stay alert." James nodded. He had read about ruins like these in the mission briefings, but seeing them in person was different. The shapes were too precise to be natural, and some of the stone surfaces bore symbols he had never seen before. They seemed to twist and change as he looked at them, as though the walls themselves were alive. "Do you feel that?" James asked, lowering his voice. "Like the ruins are looking at us?" Captain Lyra frowned. "That's why we move carefully. Keep your focus on the mission." They walked for what felt like hours, weaving between crumbling pillars and fallen statues. James could not shake the feeling that the shadows were following him, moving just out of the corner of his eye. Every now and then, a soft whisper echoed through the ruins, almost too faint to hear. James stopped and looked around, but there was nothing, only the wind carrying the sound of dust and stone. He shook his head. "I'm just imagining things." Lyra's voice cut through the silence. "We all do when we are alone in places like this." Suddenly the ground beneath them shifted. A faint vibration ran through James's boots. He glanced at Lyra. "Did you feel that?" She nodded. "Something's down there. Could be a sinkhole, could be something else." Before James could respond, the vibration grew stronger. A section of the ground gave way, sending a cloud of dust into the air. James stumbled, catching himself on a broken pillar. From the dust, a low hum began, deep and resonant, vibrating through the stones. The symbols carved into the walls glowed faintly, pulsing in time with the hum. "Step back," Lyra shouted. James obeyed, heart racing. The hum intensified and a soft voice spoke. His own name echoed from the shadows. "James." He froze. "Who's there?" No answer came, only the sound of the wind over the broken stones. Yet the voice had sounded familiar, almost as if it had known him all his life. Lyra moved closer, weapon raised. "Did you hear that?" James nodded, feeling a cold knot in his stomach. "It called my name." A sudden movement drew their attention. From a distant hallway, a shadow shifted, too quick to see clearly. The ruins themselves seemed to ripple as though alive. James swallowed. His mind raced with questions. Who or what could be here? How did it know his name? The mission was simple: investigate the ruins, gather data, and report back. But now it felt impossible. Something ancient and aware lingered in the stones, and it was watching him. Lyra gestured to the map projected from their wrist device. "The central chamber should be just ahead. That's our primary objective. Keep moving, but stay alert." James nodded and followed, stepping cautiously. As they moved deeper, the ruins changed. The walls became taller, the symbols more complex. Strange carvings of creatures, half human, half mechanical, adorned the pillars. Some seemed to shift when viewed from different angles, as if their forms were not fixed. James felt a pull toward them, a strange sense of familiarity, though he knew he had never been here before. "I don't know why," he said softly, "but I feel like I've been here before." Lyra glanced at him. "The mind can play tricks in places like this. Keep focused on the mission." They reached a wide corridor lined with broken statues. The shadows of the figures seemed to stretch unnaturally, and James's pulse quickened. One of the statues looked like a man with outstretched hands, frozen in a gesture of warning. James stepped closer and noticed the symbol on its chest. It matched the symbol on the small device he had found in the shuttle. This symbol," James whispered. "It's the same as the device. Lyra crouched beside him. That device shouldn't be here. Where did you even find it? James held it up. It was in the shuttle. It started glowing as soon as we entered the ruins. The hum grew louder again, and the shadows deepened. James felt the hair on his arms stand up. The voice came again, soft but distinct. James. This time he did not flinch. He wanted to answer, to understand, but fear rooted him to the ground. The corridor ended at a set of massive double doors, carved from a single block of stone. The same symbols were etched into the surface, glowing faintly in the dim light. James approached slowly, holding up the device. The symbols on it pulsed in response. Lyra spoke sharply. Do not touch it until we know it's safe. James hesitated, but the pull was too strong. His fingers brushed the cold stone and the doors shuddered. A deep rumble ran through the ruins, echoing through the corridors. Dust and small rocks fell from the ceiling. The doors slowly creaked open, revealing a chamber bathed in a strange blue light. In the center, a pedestal stood, and atop it was a crystal that seemed to hold a miniature storm inside. The light from the crystal danced across the walls, illuminating carvings that showed a history James could not understand. Lyra stepped inside cautiously, weapon ready. Stay close, she instructed. James moved toward the pedestal, drawn by the crystal. It pulsed in rhythm with the hum, and he felt warmth from it even from a distance. He reached out slowly, hesitating just inches from the surface. Then, the voice spoke again, clear and resonant. James, you are chosen. He jerked back, heart hammering. Chosen? For what? The crystal pulsed brighter, and the chamber seemed to shift around him. Shapes formed in the air like memories or messages. He saw worlds, strange machines, people he did not know, and shadows moving across stars. The images were vivid and alive, almost as if they were reaching for him, trying to speak without words. Lyra stepped beside him. What do you see? James swallowed hard. I don't know. It's showing. Everything. Our world, other worlds, and something coming for us. The hum turned into a low chant, filling the chamber with sound that seemed alive. The symbols on the walls glowed brightly, almost blinding. The crystal floated slightly above the pedestal, spinning slowly, as though waiting for him. James, the voice said again, do not be afraid. We have waited for you. He felt a strange sense of calm despite the fear gnawing at him. It was as if the ruins themselves were speaking to him, guiding him. He reached out again, and this time, his fingers touched the crystal. A wave of warmth and energy flowed through him, his mind filled with visions, maps, histories, and warnings. Lyra watched silently, recognizing the moment. Whatever this is, she said softly, it chose him for a reason. James pulled back slightly, breathing heavily. I think I understand now. This isn't just ruins, this is a message, a warning. And I think it knows me. The hum began to fade, leaving only the soft glow of the crystal. The chamber seemed still once more, but the air was charged, as if waiting for the next move. Lyra lowered her weapon. We need to report this. Whatever this is, Earth needs to know. James nodded, clutching the device tightly. But even as he prepared to leave, a chill ran down his spine. Somewhere deep in the ruins, beyond the chamber, shadows shifted. Something waited, something aware, and it knew his name. As they exited the chamber, the ruins seemed to close in around them, shadows stretching unnaturally. James could feel eyes on him from every direction. He did not speak. He only walked, guided by the feeling that the ruins wanted him to go deeper. Lyra noticed his hesitation. James, we stick to the plan. Remember your training. Keep your mind clear. He nodded, but inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The ruins held secrets far older than humanity, and something ancient was awake. Something that had been waiting, and it knew him. The sky above the ruins darkened as storm clouds gathered. Wind howled through the broken walls, carrying the faintest echo of a voice. "James." He swallowed hard. This time he answered, "Who are you?" Silence fell. And then, a single light flickered deep in the ruins as if acknowledging his question. The ruins stretched endlessly before James and Captain Lyra, their shadows growing longer under the fading light of the distant sun. Dust swirled around their boots as they advanced cautiously, carrying the crystal and device they had discovered. Even as James clutched the glowing artifact, he could feel the ruins watching him, whispering in a language older than humanity. Every step echoed through corridors that seemed to shift with their movement, as though the walls themselves were alive. Lyra glanced at James, her expression tense. "We need to find the main chamber," she said quietly. "The device showed something back there. Whatever is guiding us, it's leading us to something important." James nodded, trying to focus on the path. The ruins had a strange geometry. Hallways turned at impossible angles, and staircases appeared where none should exist. Yet the device pulsed faintly with light, and he followed its rhythm, trusting it more than his own eyes. As they moved, the whispering voices grew louder, echoing through empty halls. James stopped, his hand tightening on the crystal. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Lyra scanned the shadows. "Yes, stay alert." A figure appeared in the distance, tall and thin, almost blending into the darkness. James' heart skipped. The figure did not move aggressively. It simply watched, its glowing eyes fixed on him. "Who's there?" James called, stepping forward. The figure tilted its head. It made no sound, but the device in James's pocket glowed brighter, as though reacting to the presence. James felt a shiver run down his spine. This place was alive, and it was aware of him. Lyra raised her weapon. "Keep your distance. We don't know what it wants." The figure stepped forward slowly, revealing details as it came into the light. Its armor-like skin reflected the dim blue glow of the device. It was humanoid, but its features were not human. Its face was smooth, with faint traces of carved patterns instead of hair or wrinkles. Its hands were long and delicate, almost like they were designed to touch or manipulate something fragile. James swallowed. It's intelligent. I can feel it thinking." The figure stopped a few meters away. Then in a voice both soft and clear it spoke. "James, we have been waiting." James froze. His name sounded strange coming from this being, yet familiar at the same time. "Who are you?" he managed to ask. The figure's eyes glowed softly. "I am a guardian of these ruins. We have watched your people for many years. We know of your strength, your curiosity, and your courage. You are not like the others." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "The others? What do you mean?" The figure gestured toward the walls. Symbols shifted and shimmered as if responding to the conversation. "Other civilizations have come and gone, lost to the darkness. Only those who are chosen, who fight for life itself, may survive what is coming." James felt a chill. He looked down at the crystal. Its light pulsed in rhythm with the figure's words, almost as if confirming them. "Chosen for what?" James asked. The guardian did not answer immediately. Instead, it stepped back, motioning for them to follow. Reluctantly, James and Lyra moved, keeping their eyes on the being. It led them through corridors that twisted and changed as if the ruins themselves were rearranging to guide them. The walls displayed images now. Visions of planets, cities, people. Some images showed life flourishing, while others depicted destruction and fear. James felt the weight of countless civilizations pressing down on him. This place is a record," James said quietly, "of life and of what can be lost." The guardian nodded. "Yes, and now your world is next. A darkness moves across the stars, destroying new life before it can reach its potential. We failed to stop it, but you might succeed." Lyra gripped her weapon tighter. "How can humans stop something that destroys entire civilizations?" The guardian's gaze did not waver. "You do not fight alone. You have your will, your ingenuity, and your unity. These are powers the darkness underestimates." James glanced at the crystal. The artifact floated gently above his hand, radiating warmth. He felt as if it was alive, reacting to the guardian's words. A part of him understood. This was not just an object, it was a key. As they advanced, the whispering voices grew louder, merging into a chorus of sounds that felt like memory itself. James felt dizzy for a moment, as if the voices were reaching into his mind. He heard echoes of past explorers, their fears and their courage. Some whispered warnings, others encouragement. Lyra noticed his hesitation. "James, Focus, don't let it overwhelm you. He took a deep breath and pushed forward. The hallway opened into a vast chamber. Pillars of silver rose from the ground, stretching toward an invisible ceiling. The chamber was empty, except for a massive archway at the far end. Blue light shimmered along its edges. "This is it," the Guardian said. "Beyond this arch lies the knowledge you need. But beware, the darkness will try to stop you if it knows what you carry." James stepped closer to the archway. The crystal pulsed in his hand as if urging him onward. He glanced at Lyra. "Are we ready?" She nodded. "We have to be." As they entered, the air changed. It felt heavier, charged with energy. The archway opened into a room larger than any James had seen. In the center, a platform rose from the floor, and atop it, a second crystal floated. Its light was brighter than the one James carried, and inside it he could see swirling images of planets, stars, and beings. The Guardian's voice echoed in the chamber. "This is the heart of the ruins. Here is the knowledge, the warning, and the path forward. Take what you must, but understand. It comes with responsibility." James approached cautiously. As he reached out, the crystal's surface shimmered and rippled. He felt a sudden connection, as if the crystal was reading his thoughts. Memories of Earth, of his family, of humanity's struggles and victories flashed through him. "James," the Guardian said, "you carry the future in your hands. Protect it, guide it, and remember, hope is stronger than fear." The words filled him with determination. He understood now. The ruins were not just a place of the past, but a bridge to the future. Humanity had a role to play, and he had been chosen to carry it forward. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. From deep within the ruins, a low, menacing hum began, different from before. It was deeper, darker, filled with intent. James glanced at the Guardian. "They know you are here," it said. "And they are coming." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Then we have no time. We take the crystal and leave. Now." James held the floating artifact tightly. It felt warm, alive, and protective. Together they turned to leave, but the ruins seemed to resist. The corridors shifted again, blocking their path, forcing them into narrow passageways where shadows moved unpredictably. From the darkness, faint red lights appeared, small and fast, like hunting eyes. Machines unlike anything James had seen scuttled along the walls and floor, seeking them. "Run!" Lyra shouted. James sprinted, clutching the crystal. The device in his pocket pulsed brightly, illuminating a path forward. The ruins seemed to guide them, opening passages and creating openings just as the machines closed in. The chase was intense. Dust and debris fell around them. The machines fired, sending sparks and fragments of stone into the air. But James felt the artifact's energy protect them, forming faint barriers that deflected the attacks. Finally, they reached a large exit, where the ruins opened to the sky. The light of a dying sun shone down, casting long shadows. The machines hesitated at the threshold, unable or unwilling to leave the ruins. Lyra helped James climb to safety. "We made it. For now." James looked back at the ruins, feeling both awe and fear. Something ancient and intelligent had waited here, had chosen him, and had given humanity a chance. But the darkness that hunted them would not wait. As their shuttle lifted off, James held the crystal tightly. He felt its warmth and pulsing energy. Somewhere out there beyond the stars, a threat was coming, but he also felt hope, a fire within that refused to be extinguished. "James," Lyra said, breaking his thoughts. "This is only the beginning," he nodded. "I know, and we'll be ready." The ruins faded beneath them, silent once more, but James could still feel their gaze, still hear the whisper of his name. James, and somewhere deep in the ruins he knew something waited, watching, knowing, and waiting for the right moment to act. The shuttle hummed as it left the ruins behind, carrying James and Captain Lyra above the dusty plains. The sky was tinged with orange from the setting sun, painting the desolate land in golden light. Even though they were in motion, James could not shake the feeling that the ruins were still alive beneath them. That feeling grew stronger when the crystal in his hand pulsed, as if reminding him that its power was not yet fully understood. Lyra noticed his gaze. "You're still thinking about that place," she said. "We all are. But right now we need to focus on the data. The crystal is important, yes, but there are more questions than answers." James nodded, his eyes locked on the floating artifact. "It's more than just a crystal. It's alive. Communicating. I feel it guiding me. Lyra's brow furrowed. Guiding you where? He shrugged. I don't know, but I think it's connected to the darkness the Guardian mentioned, and I think it wants us to stop it. Lyra's hand tightened on her sidearm. If the Guardian is right, then that's not going to be easy. Whatever is coming, it won't be patient. The shuttle's comm crackled. Lieutenant Ronnie's voice came over the line. Captain, we've detected unusual energy readings near the ruins. Something is moving. Fast. James' heart skipped. The darkness? Could be, Lyra replied. Prepare for immediate return if necessary. James, stay close to the crystal. The shuttle's engines hummed steadily as they approached the ruins again, this time from the air. The landscape below was eerily silent. Dust swirled across the broken stone, and shadows stretched unnaturally under the evening light. The ruins seemed calm, almost serene, but James knew better. Look, he said, pointing. Over there, movement. Through the shuttle's viewport, shapes scuttled across the ruin's surface. Machines, black and angular, moved with precision. They were unlike anything James had seen before, and their numbers were growing by the second. They're organizing, Lyra said, her voice tight. And they're fast. James felt the crystal pulse again, almost urging him to act. He could see faint blue lines spreading from it, lighting up paths across the ruins. The device in his pocket vibrated in response. Lyra glanced at him. Do you understand what it's showing? James nodded slowly. The ruins. They're alive. They're protecting something or someone, and it's showing us safe paths. The shuttle hovered as the machines advanced. They fired beams of energy at the ruins, sending chunks of stone flying. The blue lines from the crystal shimmered, creating shields that deflected the attacks. James felt a surge of hope. The ruins had chosen him, and now they were fighting with him. Lyra shouted orders to the shuttle crew. Stay above the structures. Keep them from reaching the core. James, prepare for descent. We need to reach the chamber. James gripped the crystal. Its warmth spread through his arm, filling him with energy. He could sense the Guardian's presence even from afar, guiding him. The shuttle landed lightly on a flat plateau near the central ruins. Dust rose around them, but the crystal's light cut through the haze. The machines paused, hesitant to enter the area illuminated by the artifact. Let's move, Lyra said, drawing her weapon. We don't have much time. James followed, stepping carefully over broken stones. The ruins responded to his presence, opening corridors and creating steps where none existed before. The machines tried to follow, but they were slowed by the shifting paths. Inside the ruins, the air was thick with energy. The blue glow from the crystal illuminated walls covered with shifting symbols. James felt as though the ruins themselves were breathing. The whispering voices returned, louder this time, almost forming words. James could hear fragments. Protect. Chosen the path. Danger. Ahead. Stay close, Lyra warned. Don't get separated. They entered a large chamber where the floor was cracked and uneven. At the far end, the crystal's twin floated, radiating light and pulsing in rhythm with James's crystal. Between them was a massive archway etched with symbols that seemed alive. The heart of the ruins, James whispered. The Guardian mentioned this place. The Guardian appeared beside them, its tall, thin figure glowing faintly. You must act quickly, it said. The darkness knows you have the crystals. It will try to claim them. You are not ready, but you must learn fast. The knowledge here will help humanity survive. James stepped closer to the twin crystal. As he did, visions filled his mind. Stars collapsing, worlds burning, civilizations falling to shadowy machines. Then, in contrast, he saw images of humans uniting using creativity, courage, and determination to defend what mattered. This is showing me possibilities, James said, trembling. I see the darkness, but I also see hope. The Guardian nodded. Hope is a weapon. It is what makes humanity dangerous to the darkness. Your people may be young, but your spirit is strong. That is why you were chosen. Suddenly the chamber shook. The ruins responded violently, dust falling from the ceiling. Red lights appeared outside the entrance. The darkness had arrived. They're coming, Lyra said sharply. We need the crystals and out. James held both crystals. Energy surged through him, connecting him to the ruins. The blue lines on the walls brightened, forming a protective grid around them. The machines tried to advance but were repelled by the light, unable to penetrate the energy barriers. We can make it, James said, determination in his voice. The ruins are helping us. They want us to survive. Lyra glanced at him, admiration mixed with concern. Then lead the way. James closed his eyes, letting the crystals guide him. The ruins shifted, creating a path that led directly out of the chamber. Machines pursued them, but the barriers kept them at bay. The whispering voices urged James forward, and he felt the Guardian's presence lending strength. As they neared the exit, a large shadow moved overhead. A craft massive and dark hovered above the ruins. Its surface absorbed light, making it hard to see details. From it, beams of energy rained down, striking the ruins and sending stones flying. "Shuttle!" Lyra shouted. "Get us out of here!" The shuttle engines roared as they lifted off, dodging beams of energy. James held the crystals tight, feeling them pulse with energy in response to the attack. The ruins below seemed to fight back, sending bursts of light that disrupted the craft's weapons. From the crystal, James felt a message. "You are the key. Lead your people, fight, protect, do not give up." The craft hesitated as if recognizing the power of the crystals. Then, with a low hum, it pulled back, hovering at the edge of the ruins, waiting. Inside the shuttle, James breathed heavily, trying to process everything. Lyra sat beside him, wiping dust from her face. "We've survived," she said, "but this is only the beginning. That craft, it's not just after us, it's after humanity." James nodded, holding the crystals close. "I know, and we have to prepare. We have the ruins' knowledge now. We can't fail." The shuttle climbed above the horizon, leaving the ruins behind. The desert stretched endlessly beneath them, silent once more. Yet James knew the darkness was out there watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Lyra glanced at him. "You're calm, but I can see the weight on your shoulders. This is bigger than any mission we've faced." James looked at the glowing crystals in his hands, their light reflected in his eyes. "It's not just about survival. It's about humanity showing that we can rise to the challenge, that we can fight when everything seems lost. The ruins, they've given us a chance, and we will not waste it." Outside, stars began to emerge in the night sky. Somewhere out there, the darkness was moving, but so was hope. And hope, James realized, was stronger than fear. As the shuttle sped toward safety, the crystals pulsed in unison, a reminder that the journey had only begun. The ruins had chosen him. Humanity had a role to play. And the shadows rising across the stars would soon learn that humans were not to be underestimated. The voice whispered again, faint but clear. "James, lead them, protect them. Humanity's future rests in your hands." James took a deep breath. He would not let fear control him. He would not let the darkness win. He would carry hope, and humanity would rise. The shuttle disappeared into the night, carrying the last chance to prepare for a war that would span the stars. The shuttle hummed steadily as it glided through the upper atmosphere of the desert planet. James sat stiffly in his seat, clutching the two glowing crystals. Their warmth radiated through his hands, pulsing in time with a rhythm he could not yet fully understand. Every time he closed his eyes, he could hear the whispers from the ruins calling his name, a soft, distant echo that seemed to grow stronger with each passing second. Captain Lyra sat beside him, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The weight of responsibility pressed on both of them. "The enemy craft is still out there," she said quietly. "They haven't given up." James nodded, his mind racing. "I can feel them. The crystals, they're warning me. They're alive. They're trying to tell me something." Lyra's eyes narrowed, then listened carefully. "They might be our only advantage. But remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're carrying humanity's future." James swallowed hard, the magnitude of their mission settling on him like a heavy cloak. Somewhere deep in the ruins, the Guardian had waited for him, for someone who could understand the power hidden within the crystals. He could feel the connection now, pulsing in his chest as if the ruins themselves were alive and aware of his presence. The shuttle descended toward a plateau near the central ruins. The desert stretched endlessly below, and the ruins loomed in the distance, jagged and mysterious as if guarding the secrets of an ancient civilization. The enemy craft hovered nearby, dark and menacing, its red lights piercing the dusk. "Stay low," Lyra commanded, gripping her weapon tightly. "We need to reach the chamber before they do." James nodded. The crystals guided him, casting faint blue lines across the shuttle's floor that he instinctively followed. The ruins seemed to respond to the crystal's energy, shifting slightly to create paths and safe zones. As they approached the ruins, James noticed that the enemy machines had increased in number. Black angular forms scuttled across the ruins like a swarm of insects, their movements precise and calculated, Beams of red energy struck the stone walls, sending sparks and dust flying. "They're organized," Lyra muttered. "They're hunting us and they know what we carry." James tightened his grip on the crystals. "Then we have to move faster. The ruins are helping us, but we need to reach the hidden chamber." The shuttle touched down lightly on a flat plateau. Dust rose around them, but the crystals cut through the haze, casting a protective glow. Lyra led the way, stepping carefully over broken stones. James followed closely, the crystals pulsing with energy that guided their path. Inside the ruins, the air was thick with anticipation. Blue light shimmered along the walls, illuminating shifting symbols that seemed to respond to the crystal's energy. James felt the whispering voices grow louder, forming fragments of words that he could almost understand. "Protect, chosen, the path, danger, ahead, stay alert," Lyra whispered. "Don't let them surprise us." They reached a vast chamber the size of which James could hardly comprehend. Pillars of silver rose from the floor, stretching toward an invisible ceiling. At the far end of the chamber, an archway glowed with pulsating light. In its center floated the second crystal, spinning slowly as if waiting for him. "The hidden chamber," James breathed. He could feel the energy radiating from the crystal, filling the room with warmth and power. The Guardian appeared beside them, its tall, thin figure glowing faintly in the blue light. "You have come far, James, but the trials are not over. The darkness knows of your presence. It will test your courage and your strength. You must not fail." James stepped closer to the crystal, feeling a strange sense of calm despite the danger surrounding them. As he reached out, visions flooded his mind. Stars collapsing, worlds burning, civilizations falling to shadowy machines. And yet among the darkness he saw humans uniting, using courage and ingenuity to fight back. This is showing me possibilities," he whispered. "I see the darkness, but I also see hope." The Guardian nodded. "Hope is your greatest weapon. Humanity's spirit is strong even in the face of annihilation. That is why you were chosen. You carry not just knowledge but the power to guide your people toward survival." Suddenly the chamber trembled. Dust and small rocks fell from the ceiling as a low, menacing hum filled the air. Red lights appeared outside the ruins. The darkness had arrived. "They know we have the crystals," Lyra said sharply. "We need to act fast." James held the floating crystals tightly. Their energy surged through him, creating faint protective barriers around the chamber. The ruins themselves seemed to react, pulsing with blue light that repelled the machines at the entrance. "The crystals are alive," James realized. "They're protecting us." "Then let's not waste time," Lyra said, determination in her voice. "We take the knowledge and leave." James closed his eyes and let the crystals guide him. Pathways formed beneath their feet, staircases and corridors that moved with precision. The enemy machines tried to follow but were slowed, unable to navigate the shifting ruins. The twin crystals pulsed in unison, creating a connection that James could feel deep in his chest. The Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber. "You are the key. Protect this knowledge. Humanity depends on it. Lead your people, James." They reached the heart of the hidden chamber where the second crystal floated above a pedestal. Its light was brighter than the one James carried, and inside it, he could see swirling images of planets, stars, and civilizations. "This is it," James said. "This is what we need to understand." The Guardian stepped back, its voice calm but serious. "Study it carefully. Learn its patterns. It holds the knowledge to survive the darkness that approaches. But remember, power comes with responsibility. The darkness will not wait." James extended his hands toward the crystal. As soon as he touched it, a surge of energy flowed through him, connecting him to the ruins and the Guardian. The visions intensified, showing strategies, histories, and warnings. He saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the courage of countless beings, and the relentless advance of the darkness. He realized that this knowledge was not just information, it was a blueprint, a guide for humanity to survive and grow stronger. Outside, the enemy craft hovered, its beams of energy striking the ruins. The crystal's protective barriers held, but the assault grew more intense. Dust and debris filled the chamber, and James could feel the energy of the crystals responding to every attack. Lyra shouted, "James, focus! We need to leave before they breach the chamber." James nodded, concentrating. The crystals pulsed, forming a protective bubble around them. The ruins shifted once more, creating a corridor leading back to the shuttle. The enemy machines tried to follow, but the barriers held them at bay. As they ran, James felt a connection to the ruins, the Guardian, and the crystals. He understood now that the ruins were not just a place. They were alive, aware, and willing to help those who were worthy. They reached the shuttle, the crystal's light guiding their steps. Lyra helped James aboard, and the engines roared as they lifted off. Beams of energy followed, but the protective aura of the crystals shielded them as they ascended into the sky. James held the crystals close, their warmth filling him with hope and determination. "We did it," he said, breathless. "But this is just the beginning." Lyra nodded, her eyes fixed on the horizon. "The darkness is out there waiting, but now we have a chance. With this knowledge, we can prepare. Humanity can fight back." James looked at the crystals, their light reflecting in his eyes. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also a surge of courage. Somewhere deep in the ruins, the Guardian watched silently, its presence reassuring. The shadows of the enemy craft receded, but James knew they would return. The darkness was relentless, but so was the human spirit. The crystals had chosen him, humanity had a role to play, and now the first step toward hope had been taken. As the shuttle sped into the night sky, James whispered quietly, almost to himself, "I will not fail. Humanity will rise." And somewhere, far beneath the ruins, something waited, watching, knowing, and ready for the moment when James and his people would face the coming storm. The shuttle flew silently over the horizon, leaving the ruins far behind. James sat in the cabin, the two crystals glowing softly in his hands. The warmth of their energy flowed into him, filling him with a sense of calm and purpose. Captain Lyra sat beside him, scanning the instruments, her face tense but determined. "We need to prepare," she said finally. "Whatever is coming won't wait. The Guardian showed you the path, but now we have to act." James nodded, his mind racing with the visions from the hidden chamber. He had seen worlds destroyed, civilizations wiped out, and yet he had also seen humans standing together, using courage, ingenuity, and hope to survive. Humanity's strength was different, fragile, yes, but resilient. It adapted. It endured. And now it had a chance. "We'll need everyone," James said, gripping the crystals. "Scientists, engineers, soldiers, civilians. Everyone who can fight or build or help." Lyra's eyes softened slightly. "You're right. We don't just have technology. We have the human spirit. That's what scares the darkness more than anything." James took a deep breath. He could feel the crystals pulsing, almost as if they were agreeing with her. "Then we start with the plan the Guardian showed me. The crystals contain knowledge, strategies, maps, warnings. We need to decode it, understand it, and prepare Earth for what's coming." The shuttle's engines hummed as they approached orbit. Below, the planet stretched wide, golden and peaceful, hiding the danger that lurked among the stars. James felt a wave of determination. The darkness could come, but humanity would meet it, not with fear, but with hope. Back on Earth, the first signs of change were subtle. Satellites detected unusual energy readings near the outer planets. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, guided by James's transmitted data from the crystals. The knowledge the ruins had given him was clear. The darkness targeted civilizations before they could grow. But with preparation, humans could fight back. James watched the reports from his command center, the crystals floating above the table. Their light illuminated the room, showing patterns and connections that had been invisible before. He could see the stars like never before, and in the energy lines he could trace the paths of approaching danger. Lyra entered the room, carrying a tablet filled with calculations. "We've coordinated with multiple bases," she said. "Humanity is mobilizing faster than the darkness expects." "James, this is incredible." James shook his head, a small smile forming. "It's not just me. It's all of us. Humanity has always been underestimated. That's our advantage." Outside the command center, construction and training accelerated. Ships were built faster than ever, guided by knowledge from the crystals. Weapons and shields were designed with precision, based on strategies James had seen in the visions. Humanity's leaders, inspired by the urgency of the threat, set aside old conflicts to unite under one goal: survival. James watched a simulation on the crystal's surface. Red streaks represented the darkness moving through space, approaching systems that were not prepared. Blue lines showed human fleets, shields, and protective zones all moving in coordination. "They're fast," James muttered, "but we're faster." Lyra stood beside him, her expression firm, "and smarter. They may destroy, but we learn, we adapt. That's human nature. Days turned into weeks and the preparations grew. Civilizations on Earth worked together, combining resources, knowledge, and courage. Every human had a role, whether piloting ships, analyzing data, building defenses, or strategizing tactics. The crystal's energy guided them, illuminating the path forward. Finally, the moment came. Humanity's first defensive fleet reached orbit, ready to meet the darkness head-on. James stood on the bridge of the command vessel, the crystals floating above his palms. Lyra joined him, her eyes scanning the vastness of space. "They're here," she said, pointing to a shadow moving against the stars. The darkness had arrived, a massive formation of craft and machines spreading like a black wave across the void. James closed his eyes briefly. He could feel the energy of the crystals, the pulse of the ruins, and the connection to humanity itself. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes. "Then we begin." The fleet surged forward, coordinated and precise. Ships moved in perfect formation, guided by the knowledge of the crystals and the strategies James had seen in the visions. Energy shields flared, weapons primed, and humanity's first stand began. The darkness struck, relentless and powerful. Red beams fired, machines lunged, and the void trembled with the intensity of the battle. But humanity did not falter. They adapted instantly, dodging attacks, creating shields, and using ingenuity to counter every threat. Every ship, every human acted as part of a greater whole, a single mind driven by survival and hope. James directed the fleet, using the crystals to anticipate the enemy's movements. "Left flank, adjust formation," he shouted. "Focus fire on the leading ships." The enemy hesitated, confused by the coordination and strategy. They had expected scattered, unprepared humans, not a civilization united and guided by knowledge. Lyra piloted her ship alongside James, firing precise blasts that disrupted enemy machines. "They're underestimating us," she said, a grin forming. "They always do," James nodded. The battle raged, the darkness relentless, but humanity's spirit burned brighter than any weapon. The crystals pulsed, projecting light and energy that protected ships and illuminated hidden paths through the battlefield. The ruins' guidance had given them an advantage, and humans seized it with courage. Hours passed, and slowly the tide began to turn. The enemy faltered, machines were destroyed, and ships retreated. Humanity's fleet pressed forward, coordinating attacks and defenses flawlessly. Every loss was met with learning, every strike with counteraction. James felt a surge of pride and awe. "Look at them," he whispered. "Every human working together. This is what the Guardian saw. This is why we were chosen." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's more than courage. It's hope, James. Hope is stronger than fear, and that's what makes humanity dangerous." The darkness pulled back, retreating into the void, but not defeated. James knew they would return, stronger, smarter, and more relentless. Yet humanity had proven it could survive, adapt, and fight. The crystals pulsed softly as if acknowledging their victory. James held them close, feeling the energy flow into him. Somewhere deep in the ruins, the Guardian watched, satisfied that the Chosen One had acted with courage and wisdom. James looked out into space, the stars shining brightly. He knew the darkness would return, but humanity would be ready. They had learned, adapted, and risen to the challenge. Lyra turned to him, her eyes shining with determination. "This is only the beginning, but now we know what we're capable of." James nodded, a smile forming. "Yes, and no matter what comes, humanity will rise. We'll face the darkness together, and we'll protect our future." The fleet regrouped, repairs and reinforcements prepared for the battles yet to come. But James knew one thing clearly. The humans had awakened something powerful within themselves, a courage that could not be destroyed, a unity that could not be broken, and a hope that burned brighter than the stars themselves. Above the ruins, the crystal's light faded slightly, returning to their gentle glow. James could feel the ruins' presence, quiet but alive, still watching, still guiding, still waiting. The Guardian's words echoed in his mind. "Lead them. Protect them. Humanity's future rests in your hands." James took a deep breath and looked at the fleet below. The humans were ready. They had risen from fear, adapted, and proven that hope and determination could overcome even the darkest threats. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, the darkness knew it had underestimated the human spirit. James smiled, feeling the warmth of the crystals in his hands. Humanity had a future, and they would fight for it no matter the cost. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of challenges and dangers, but also full of hope. Humanity had risen. They were ready, and James knew with every fiber of his being that the darkness would never defeat them, not while hope, courage, and unity burned within the hearts of humans. The battle was won for now, but the war had just begun. Yet humanity had shown its strength, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again.